MAHA or HAHA, can RFK Jr. really make America healthy again? Um, Sorry if I sound a little wheezy. I had something about 10 days ago. I accidentally ate what I know causes me to have asthma and allergies because I've figured that out for myself. And it was snuck in to something I ate accidentally. I didn't know it was in there. So, yeah, it's been hell, absolute hell. Getting through it, I've had to I did 2.5 days of semi fasted. Had to take inhaler for the first time in like a year. My inhaler expired 7 years ago, so it's not something I like to take often. Can't be too good for me. Um, but yeah, that sucked. If I intentionally eat something and that happens, hey, that's kind of, I get to weigh whether or not that was worth it. But this was, something I had no idea that, this vile substance that causes asthma and allergies was in there. So, anyway, speaking of allergies and asthma, when I was in the prime of my life, 23 years old, just graduated college in December 2001. My girlfriend and I at the time decided the best thing for us to do for the first few months after graduating was to go work a ski season back up in the mountains. And her family had pets. And, I promise I'm going somewhere with this as it pertains to RFK Jr., but you need to hear the backstory a little bit so it'll make some kind of sense. She had pets. Her parents had a dog, two cats, and I was so deathly allergic that I literally slept in a tent in the backyard for 4 months in the dead of winter in Colorado. Many nights, sub-zero temperatures, and I'm out there in the tent. The girlfriend mostly slept in the house, so my ass was out there completely alone, sleeping in a tent in my girlfriend's parents' yard. So that was me in the prime of my life, six pack, 170 pounds, lean, near Olympic level skier. My asthma was super debilitating at that time, and my pet allergies were just horrible. I now live in a house with a dog. Spent all summer sleeping with it right next to my face practically. And I'm fine. Maybe my skin gets a tiny bit itchy, but no sneezing, no asthma, no sneezy wheezy. So I've made just tremendous progress, and my mind is being blown by just how effective it is to exclude this substance from my diet. And that's what worries me about having a bureaucrat make decisions about what is and is not healthy. Because, like Mark Twain said, be careful about reading health books or whatever. You could die from a typo. It's very dangerous when people start meddling around. And so, let me talk about that. So, this ingredient that snuck into my food accidentally, it's an ingredient that's not naturally occurring in food. It's added to food. It's added to certain foods to make it healthy, right? Some bureaucrat got together. I don't know if it was Dennis Burkett, got together with George McGovern back in the early 70s. I don't know exactly the history of how this came to be. But there's a long history of, people talking to supposed experts and getting together with bureaucrats and trying to, mandate certain things. And yeah, they've made some huge mistakes. So here's what happened to me 10 days ago. I haven't eaten cereal in ages, right? I was eating it for a while with almond milk, oat milk, stuff like that. Then they started adding this toxic ingredient to it. Well, saw a commercial recently for this stuff, right? Only 3 ingredients. Well, those ingredients are water, organic almonds, and sea salt. hey, no toxic additives in that. So I started getting excited, like, hey, crush some cereal, I'm an 80s kid, I grew up eating tons of cereal and loved it. Probably had a great deal with why I was a really sick kid, but not because of cereal in and of itself, though. We'll get there. So I went and bought some stuff like this and this because from past research and looking at labels, I saw that every single cereal had this substance in it that gives me allergies and asthma. So I knew I can't eat regular cereal. I'll eat this natural stuff that doesn't have any of that added to it. I started out eating that for a while, and then one day my wife was like, you know what I've been craving? I've been craving Honey Smacks, Doesn't that sound good, some Honey Smacks? And so I went to the store and looked up and down the aisle for Honey Smacks. I don't know if they don't exist anymore, what the deal is, but I found the closest suitable alternative to that, which is Golden Poofs by Malto Meal. And I was looking at the ingredients here, and I went through it, and holy shit, the substance that I thought was added to every breakfast cereal, forbidding me from being able to eat quote unquote normal cereals, it was gone. It wasn't in there. So I tried some of the cereal. I did great. Found out they have all these other different cereals, right? Got me some of their sort of knockoff of Frosted Mini Wheats. Got their knockoff version of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And there was like a Cocoa Krispies one, chocolate rice that we got. Check the label. Found another one, and it's one of my favorites, definitely my daughter's favorite. And after looking at 4 or 5 bags of cereal and seeing that none of them had this ingredient, I guess I just assumed that this other one was fine. Well, it wasn't fine. I ate it once and started to cough up a lot of phlegm. And I was like, what the hell? I haven't done this in a year. What's going on? Couldn't have been from the little bit of, couldn't have been from like that donut I had the other day. I know that wasn't the best thing for me to eat, but could it really be doing all this? And then I was eating this cereal again, and I just happened to glance at the label right as I was finishing off a ginormous bowl. And there it was, the toxic ingredient, and it's easy to remember, right? Because allergies, asthma, autoimmune disease, the A's, caused by vitamin A in my case. I don't want to overreach and say that it's the cause for everybody, but there is great scientific paper about retinoid toxicity and the etiology of asthma. But there she is. Let's see if we can zoom in there. Vitamin A palmitate. You see that right there? Vitamin A palmitate. And the quantity is 30% of your daily value. There's 13 servings in here. This is not a very big bag, as you can see. This is like something that I would eat maybe in three days. So I'd be getting several days worth of vitamin A just from, a little bag of that. And vitamin A palmitate is, all vitamin A is the same thing, doesn't matter. But vitamin A palmitate in particular absorbs more efficiently than all the other vitamin A's. So it's kind of like, this really souped up vitamin A that is much more harmful and toxic. It's in all the breakfast cereals because somebody who thought vitamin A was this essential nutrient that was super important decided we need to just inject not just a little bit, but a absolute shitload into all the food, right? It's not in everything, but it's in a lot of things. It's in all low-fat dairy products in large quantity. It's in all breakfast cereals, except for the few that I happen to find. And yeah, they put it in all this processed food to make it healthier, supposedly. And what worries me about RFK Jr. is that I see him saying that kind of typical stuff that your garden variety health guru was saying 10 years ago, right? Yeah, high fructose corn syrup and seed oils, and yeah, if we should have beef tallow for McDonald's fries, and we should, as soon as I get into the school lunch program, we're going to get rid of all processed foods. Okay, well, they did the China study, and the biggest nutritional study ever. And the one food that just jumped off the charts ahead of all others is the most protective food against chronic illnesses that they were investigating was white rice, a processed food with almost no nutritional value, right? Hardly any difference between white rice and white sugar, right? White flour. This guy's wanting to go in there and get rid of that stuff. Well, I get the whole sentiment that if you eat a whole foods diet, magically you'll be healthy. All these fruits and vegetables, and if it's all organic, everything will be great. Believe me, I tried that, and it made me so much worse. My health just deteriorated. And I amassed a big following of people interested in health who also had experienced terrible health trying to eat a very wholesome diet. So to me, RFK Jr. is kind of like coming from sort of a Weston A. Price Foundation kind of perspective, right? If we eat the way our ancestors ate, if we eat, traditional type diet, unprocessed, magic will happen, and we'll just all be healed and cured and live happily ever after. That's just wrong. And yeah, it might seem right, but it ain't. And that's what worries me, right? We've already had Michelle Obama go and tinker with the school lunches. That didn't do anything. This issue is very different than what it's made out to be, with pop health and nutrition beliefs. And but one thing I have to give RFK Jr. kudos for, I'm really excited that he's brought up this topic. Health problems are terrible. In particular, asthma, allergies, autoimmune disease, and autism, right? Those are kind of the big ones that have just skyrocketed over the last several decades. And the medical industry has no answers. They have no answers. They don't know what causes these conditions, where they come from, how to fix them, right? They come up with some solutions with potent anti-inflammatories and antihistamines and things like that. But at the end of the day, they don't know what causes these things. They don't know why it's getting worse. They don't have real solutions. And it remains a mystery. I cracked my own mystery, right? I know what causes me to have problems and things I never thought possible. I never thought I would own a dog again. I used to be so allergic to dogs that I would be, I've been hospitalized before from spending a few days in a house with a dog. I was just laying on the floor hanging out with a dog. Yeah, I have a little asthma, but it'll be gone in a few days completely after I get, the rest of this vitamin A out of my system that I poisoned myself with by eating some Fruity Pebble knockoff Fruity Pebbles that had vitamin A palmitate added to it. So, yeah, that's what worries me about RFK Jr. He just thinks that, we'll get rid of a lot of these food additives. And yeah, there's a lot of unhealthy things in our environment, and pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, artificial this, that, and all these chemicals that have, a lot of other countries have banned. Those things aren't healthy. We should get those out of the food supply. that would be great. But the big one is a vitamin. And it was put there by somebody who was trying to legislate, healthy eating. So that worries me. Beef tallow, we're going to fry French fries in beef tallow instead of vegetable oil, and all of our problems are going to magically go away. Tell that to the fattest nation in the world, the island nation of Nauru, where they eat mutton flap as one of their main staples, also turkey tails. Mutton flap has almost the identical fatty acid profile to beef tallow. They're not doing so good, it turns out. We're not just going to eat big slabs of, mutton flap or, use the oil to fry our French fries from something similar, beef fat, and magically all our problems go away. It's so far off. It's wishful thinking, and it's just kind of naive, I'm obviously jaded after trying so hard to eat the perfect diet, figure out what that was and eat it. My whole life was dedicated to it. And I went years without eating a processed food. I went years without eating a single bite of anything with processed sugar. I went years without eating anything that wasn't organic, At one time, I was working at 2 health food stores at the same time. So, it was a big deal in my life. I dedicated everything to it. I've spoken at a Weston A. Price Foundation conference, and I've attended them. I used to, milk. I used to milk cows in the morning and deliver raw milk as part of like a food co-op in Colorado many years ago. I gave it 100% effort, the Whole Foods super nutritious diet. And guess what? All those wholesome, nutritious foods, they're full of vitamin A. The worse my allergies got, the biggest rapid acceleration of my allergies and asthma took place when I was eating 100% natural Whole Foods diet I just drank raw grass-fed milk out in California from, green pastures or something like that. That's all I consumed for a month. And at the end of that month, I went and I pet a dog, and my whole arm just swelled up and got itchy, and I started wheezing immediately from an encounter with the dog outdoors, which normally in the past, I was fine to pet a little dog here and there as long as I didn't spend the night in a house full of pet dander. But anyway, I love RFK Jr. I was a big supporter when he was running as an independent. I'm a diehard independent. I'm super bummed that he dropped out. I thought he dropped out at a really poor time, right as the Kamala hype was just starting. Obviously, that was destined to drop off as people got to know her a little better. I'm bummed that he didn't stay in the race as an independent. To me, that's one of the most important things, politically and socially and culturally in the United States, is getting past this two-party stranglehold that we have. And he was, the best thing that had come along in a while. And I hate to see him bend the knee and, join the Trump train. I understand why he does it. I think he's sincere in his reasoning for doing so. But I can't help but be disappointed. As far as the fitness stuff, fitness is where it's at. I love that he's, accomplished, fit person. He's maintained great fitness throughout his life. Yeah, he's got a little, hormonal help to be in such great shape at his age, but, it's still fine. But I think that's a really good place to lead as a charismatic leader that could really get people who are not passionate about fitness and being healthy to really get behind that, right? Because a spiritual leader that can lead people into taking better care of themselves is a very, very powerful thing. And I think he can be that. I just don't know if I want him meddling with the school lunches and taking out all the processed food. You know, all I eat is processed food. Lost 62 pounds. And, you know, by focusing on exercise and avoiding vitamin A like the plague, which, by the way, vitamin A is in all the healthy foods. So I basically can only eat, you know, rice, pasta, non-dairy cookies, you know, chicken, beef, you know, not a whole lot. So yeah, I don't get to eat a ton of vegetables. I don't really eat any at all unless they're just super white fleshed. Same with fruits. I can eat a few peeled apples here and there, but you know, what do I eat? 2 of those a month. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on it. If you have no background in any of this and haven't been exposed to the idea, I'm sure it just will mean nothing, and I will be, you know, just write me off as being some crazy kook and what does this guy know? But yeah, I mean, you can't just eat a health food. You can't just eat a whole foods diet that's super nutritious and organic, and then magic happens. You snap your fingers and everybody becomes perfectly healthy and their health problems go away. Doesn't work that way at all. And unfortunately, no matter how nice it sounds, I just think in the context of our modern world, you know, it doesn't work. You know, your liver's already full of vitamin A, which biopsies show that people's livers are toxic with vitamin A. You know, eating a healthy, nutritious foods full of vitamin A, that's not gonna do anything for you. So anyway, that's all I have to say about the topic, I guess. I'm all about RFK Jr. with his legal battle against Big Pharma. Hell yeah. Leading the country to having an exercise revolution. Hell yeah. 100% behind that. 100%, you know, with him when it comes to, you know, fighting the big corporations, you know, the pesticides, herbicides, you know, chemical companies like, you know, the Dow and Monsanto and stuff like that he has a track record of fighting. Amazing. And I'm all about, you know, better vaccine testing and other things like that he's all about. I mean, I just couldn't agree more. The food thing worries me, you know. I'm allergic to health food. And he talks about asthma. He talks about allergies. He talks about autoimmune disease. He talks about autism. He doesn't know what causes those things. And but yet he's willing to jump in and start tinkering with the food supply. And, you know, that's the thing. Everybody wants to help, you know. Wave a magic wand and make me in charge of the national food supply. I want to help. I'm sure I would be tempted to go in and make big sweeping changes and do the things that I thought were best. I think he's well-intentioned, but yeah, there's a lot of people out there really passionate about health and fitness. They're well-intentioned and, you know, they don't have the answers and they're not helping a lot of people. They're harming a lot of people. And yeah, I'd hate to see RFK Jr., you know, fall into that trap as well, being overconfident in his ideology and implementing things into the national diet that could actually be counterproductive. So that's my feedback on it. And that's all I have to say about it. If you have asthma, allergies, autoimmune disease, you might want to try a low vitamin A diet. It 100% works for me. It's amazing. Life-changing. So glad I stumbled upon it. And yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about that. But yeah, I'm all about making America healthy again. And yeah, I hope we can pull it off. I hope RFK Jr. is helpful. I hope if he does implement a whole foods diet for the country, that I'm totally wrong and that everybody else's health is improved from that except for mine. But yeah, anyway, later.